All right, are you ready to level up your accounting skills? We're going to stop just making budgets and start using them to drive real, actual strategy. Think of this as building your strategic advisor's toolkit. And yeah, it's going to get you one massive step closer to crushing the LECPA.
So, you've spent what, countless hours in class perfecting the master budget, right? You absolutely know the drill. It's this super detailed quantitative plan for the future. On paper, it's a perfect roadmap.
But here's the thing about perfect roadmaps. They don't account for traffic, for detours, for reality. The real world, it's messy, it's unpredictable. And this moment, right here, is where you stop being just an accountant and start becoming a true strategic advisor.
So today, we're going to arm you with the tools to master all that uncertainty. We'll kick things off with why real-world budgeting is just so darn tricky. Then, we'll get into our first tool, expected value, before we map out our decisions. We're even going to figure out the actual value of knowing the future, and then we'll wrap it all up with a quick LECPA bullet review. Let's do this.
Okay, first up, let's really dig into why that standard budget, the one you've memorized, while it's super important, it's really just the opening act. You already know this, but the master budget is the company's financial blueprint. It ties everything together from sales to production to cash, but it has one huge glaring weakness. It's a static photograph in a world that is a non-stop, high-speed video. It's based on a single set of assumptions.
So, how in the world do you budget for a world that refuses to sit still? Well, our first tool helps us take those gut feelings about what might happen and turn them into cold, hard numbers we can actually use.
Okay, just picture this for a second. Your boss comes to you with a few different scenarios for a new product launch. You've got option A, which is a potential grand slam, but it's super risky. Then there's option B, a safe bet, but the reward is kind of small. You can't just guess. You need a system.
And that system, my friends, is expected value. It's basically a way to figure out the average outcome if you could run the same scenario over and over and over again. And a huge heads up, this is a classic LECPA topic, so you're going to want to lock this concept down.
So check this out. Here we have 5 possible sales outcomes. There's a 10% chance we actually lose 70,000 pesos. Ouch. But there's also a 10% chance we make 140,000. How do you possibly weigh all of that and come up with a single plan? Okay, here it is, your big study hack. If you can figure out your GPA, you can absolutely calculate expected value. I'm serious, it's the exact same logic. You just multiply each outcome by its probability, its weight, and then you just add them all up. Simple as that.
And when we run that calculation for our example, boom, we land on an expected monthly profit of 52,000 pesos. All of a sudden, that messy table of possibilities becomes a single concrete number we can actually use to make a smart decision.
Okay, let's move on to a couple of tools that help us visualize all these different paths our decisions might take us down.
So you've basically got 2 main ways to map things out. First is the decision payoff table. Think of it like a spreadsheet. It's great for seeing everything neatly organized in one place. The other is a decision tree, which is more like a flowchart. It's perfect for understanding the sequence of your choices and what could happen next. Honestly, building a decision tree is kind of like playing a choose-your-own-adventure game, but for business. You start at a decision node. That's your choice. From there, you branch out to chance nodes. Those are the uncertain things that might happen. Follow each branch out to its conclusion, and you see the final payoff.
And now for our final and maybe the most powerful tool in the whole kit. This is the one that helps us answer one of the biggest questions in business.
Seriously, think about it. How much should your company pay for that fancy market research report? Or that expert consultant? Is the info worth 10,000 pesos? 100,000? This next tool gives you a precise, data-driven answer to that question. It's called the expected value of perfect information, or EVPI. And put simply, it tells you the absolute maximum price you should ever pay for a crystal ball, for knowing exactly what the future holds before you have to make your move.
And calculating it is a pretty straightforward 3-step process. First, you look at each possible future and figure out the single best decision you'd make if you knew for sure that's what was going to happen. Step 2, you calculate the weighted average of all those perfect outcomes. And finally, you just subtract the original expected value you found earlier, back when you were still uncertain. And that final number you get, that's your EVPI. So if it comes out to 24,000 pesos, that is the absolute drop-dead maximum you should pay for that consultant.
If they're charging $25,000, you can confidently tell your boss, nope, walk away. How powerful is that? All right, let's wrap this up with a quick-fire bullet review of the whole toolkit. If you're studying for the LECPA, get your phone ready. You are absolutely going to want to screenshot these next few slides for your notes. Okay, first up, expected value, or EV. Remember, this is your go-to for taking a whole mess of possibilities and boiling it all down to one single decisive number. It's just a weighted average.
Next up, your mapping tools. The payoff table is for that quick, at-a-glance overview. The decision tree is what you use when you need to map out a whole journey with multiple steps and choices along the way.
And finally, EVPI. This is how you put a hard price tag on the value of information itself. It tells you exactly how much that market research or consultant is truly worth to your bottom line.
So there you have it. You are now equipped to move beyond just reporting on what happened in the past and start actually shaping the future. The real key here isn't just memorizing the formulas. It's about starting to see the world as a set of probabilities and payoffs. So my question to you is, which problem are you going to solve first?